started making noise. So everybody, let's join Jesse Arnold and his buddy Curtis Akerman. Because when indulging in fine geekery, it's always best to bring a friend or two. Shooting the shell. Everybody loves shooting the shell. Shooting the shell. Let's start shooting the shell. You're gonna love it now. Let's start shooting the shell. Just might make you say wow. Let's enjoy some fun conversation. We'll be shooting the shell around the nation. Let's start shooting the shell.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Shooting the Shelf, episode, what is this? 6, season 4. Do I need to leave you alone for a moment, Curtis? He's having a moment over there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm preparing.
Oh,
Okay. Got it.
I believe it's 136, episode 136 overall.
Sugar cookie. He likes sugar cookie.
And that's it. I have been derailed.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're live. We're early. It's early in the day because there's something going on that we figured we didn't want to make people choose between watching us or this game thing. Because we know everybody wants to be here.
Are you talking about the new commercials?
I don't know, because the last time I watched, the commercials pretty much sucked.
Mm.
I haven't enjoyed the commercials in a long time. There's some cool movie trailers, but
yeah, that'd be cool. All right.
But
you want to shout out the folks in the chat, or you want me to?
Yeah, you go ahead and shout them out. But first, I just want to say, hey,
That's a shout out.
yeah.
We got Benny is out there. He was first one in. We've got Dub 3, Dub 3. Darla Akerman, I know her. Jeremy Goviar. We got Stacy Lin, 2 Lins. And she's on her second workout of the day. 2 Lins,
Oh,
2
nice.
workouts. Yeah, got it going on. Nate Strong is in the house. Thomas Belay, Junkie and Crafts and Builds. We got Rob Zamora, El Spooky Zorro in the house. Eddie Eduardo de Jesus. Legends Collector 1321, our good friend Dylan. I am TJ Williams. H, silent. Leave it alone. Dave Orkin. Let's see. We got Santos Rivera, Rick Emmert, Steph Orkins in the house. We got 2 Orkins. We got 2 Lins. Miguel Gomez. Apparently, Rob Zamora, member for 13 months. So there you go.
Second best number. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. So, and that's everybody so far. We are at a different time, so we may have some people rolling in that are like, "Hey, didn't know, whatever." But yeah, we're here. We're early. There's a few times a year. I think it's usually Christmas week we go early. And then Super Bowl. There's a few times a year where we go early. Usually when we go early, though, we try to reach across the pond, right? Try to see if there's somebody over there that's like, hey, this is a better time for you. So that's what we tried to do this time. And then we also brought another person that we know very well to join us for a fun discussion. Because the song says a friend or 2. So
Right.
Yeah.
And the songs dictate the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just like the OffWorld one where it says every Friday night. And so you can't miss. You can't take a week off. It says every Friday night. So yeah.
I'm still trying to decide, determine whether or not you slipped Jeremy a couple extra bucks to make it say every Friday night.
That was
even though
all
you
dudes.
didn't know. Even
Dudes
though
was
you
the one
didn't
that
know
made
the
the
name.
song. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if you just slipped it
Yeah.
in there, be like, hey, whatever it is, make sure you say every Friday night.
Well, we've got some amazing guests with us. You wanna introduce
Yes.
those?
So
fine gentlemen?
without further much ado about nothing, let's bring on our wonderful guest this evening. And I'm going to make much more ado about something because I'm rambling here. Give a digital round of applause to the one and only Joe Gonsalves.
How's it going, everybody?
Joe Gideon.
Oh, yeah, I should have done the mustache thing to be ready.
And we've got another guest. I'm going to bring him up. His picture's not showing up, but oh my gosh.
Hey man, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be hey man tonight. It's hey man.
Wow.
It's gonna be cool, Joe.
Wow, He-Man in the house.
I don't know what that was. I think we got
realized that
hacked.
we had the power.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
You got the touch.
By the power of Grayskull.
Indeed.
Emil just pooed all over my mustache idea. You guys got that right. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, oh, look at my mustache, and then Emil's like, look, I'm He-Man.
I don't think that was Emil. I think that was He-Man.
Hi,
There
nice
we go.
to be here.
Hi, Emil.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, but there was some kind
it was
of
really.
It's nice to see you all. Wonderful.
It's good to see you too. Yeah.
Thank you, Emil. Thank you. I've been working out.
It's like a Gideon thing there.
Mike V, we don't know. We don't know what you tuned into. Stacy almost fell off the treadmill.
Oh, sorry.
Whoops. Whoops.
I don't know. I guess we're getting some crosswave broadcasts from Eternia.
That must be it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I blame Orko. He probably was messing with some controls or something.
More like Eternia, nah.
Okay. Well, at the start of the show, we do a little thing that we like to call shelf selections. This is where Jesse and I picked out some photos that inspired us this week. So we're going to pull those up and talk about those and see what we got. So this first one is one of my picks. This is at Nerd Mythical on Instagram. And I actually saw this on Facebook first, and I had to message him and say, hey, you need to put this on your Instagram for reasons. Because this is cool. I loved it. I love the use of the Frankenstein's creature parts. And the repaint on that cosmic torso, and just like, I don't know, this is just a really cool build. I think I like it better without the jacket, but both looks are cool, but I think I like it better without the jacket, so I included both picks. Jesse?
It's very cool. It feels really creepy and unsettling, like kind of like if they would have done better with the bad guys in the Chronicles of Riddick movie. Like the necromancers, or not, they weren't the necromancers, but whatever they were called. Yeah, I think this is really cool. This is really cool. I dig this a lot. I like the way he got the pauldrons to work with the jacket.
Yeah, I like the like the pale, like it does feel kind of necromancy, kind of skin tone, like very dead, and yeah, I don't know. Joe, thoughts on this one?
It shows how amazing that these parts all go together. Now, I never would have thought of this combination, but then you see it and it's like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. How everything just goes together. It's incredible. Looks amazing. Even without a repaint, I think it would have looked pretty darn cool. So,
Jesse, were you referring to necromorphs?
I don't remember what they were called. I know they called them necro somethings.
Gotcha. Emil, thoughts on this one?
Oh yeah, a lot of thoughts, because this is one of those pictures when when you're scrolling by and you stop. I've been looking at this multiple times this past week.
Oh, nice.
To me, it incorporates a lot of my favorite parts in the line. you know, all of these are great parts. The idea to merge this into, you know, necromorph or whatever you would like to call it, I think it's a badass look. I think it's great. So I love it. And it was actually just right now that I saw that the pants were, you know,
it's the cloth pants from Frankenstein's creature. Yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch to pull that up over the top of the boots. Like, it creates this really cool kind of ruffled look.
Yeah, and I really missed that thing. So excellent, all around excellent. You know, probably one of my favorite builds this year that I've seen.
High praise. Next one is one of Jesse's.
So this is from, I can't read it because my computer's stupid. This is
Akerman.
Akerman 07. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously it's a Sun Wukong figure of some sort, a Monkey King figure. Not sure what line it's from, but I just thought that was really fun.
Might be the League of Legends one, but I'm not positive.
Okay. Whatever it is, I think it's really cool. I think this pose is cool. You know, it's just laying down. It's not like up on a stand or anything, but I just thought it was a pretty cool look. And, you know, story started spinning in my head of what this might be. Might this be? I just thought it was a fun photo.
Cool. Yeah. I love just kind of the pose, like he's jumping in the air or coming down out of a tree or something. Really cool. Love this. Joe?
Yeah, that's what I was going to comment on with the pose. Like, even though he's laying down on a flat surface, it feels like he's like falling down out of a tree, you know, to confront enemies or something like that. So great looking figure and definitely a dynamic pose.
Cool. And Emil.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, you know, continue the pose praising here. That's the instant thing that I look at. Is it any custom pieces here, or is it is the League of Legends?
I don't know that for sure that's what it is, but I know that League of Legends has one, and I think this might be it, but I'm not positive.
Well, I love Sun Wukong in different shapes. So I think this was a cool one.
Totally. Next one is one of mine's, and this is somebody that I do pull up pictures from often because I just think he does amazing work. This is a Mafex Nightfall Batman, which, if you're not familiar with that figure, is completely gray and blue, no black on it whatsoever, and just did an entire repaint on this, turning this into, you know, a different colored Batman. I love the shading on it. I love the way that this came out overall. It's just so good. It's an amazing repaint that he did. And, you know, if you're interested in like really cool customs done with an airbrush, check out his Instagram. It's maxedout_studio. Does some fantastic repaints of mostly Mafex figures. So, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm always blown away when I see posts from him or when you bring him up in shelf selections. I think, you know, just that black, it's just got that right. It's not too shiny. It's not too dull. It's got the right hits. It feels very 89 Batman, but like in comic book form, with like that kind of darker gold belt and everything. It's just, yeah, this is really cool.
Cool. Joe?
I saw that black leather, and for a second I thought it was Jeffrey Evans. You know, I got confused for a minute, but it definitely is an amazing repaint.
Well, we do know that Jeff likes the latex better than the leather. He's told us. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's what's underneath, I'm sure.
Yeah, but, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it takes that 89 Batman look and you know, puts it in comic book style. It's super cool.
Absolutely. And Emil.
Very clean. Beautiful.
All right. Next one is from Jesse.
This is from PL Toy Box Photography with some underscores in there. Again, I don't really know what the figure is, but I just thought it was a fun little shot, you know, like mechanic girl, something getting ready to grab the gun and go fight. I don't know, but it was a fun shot. Just it was cool to see some different stuff from time to time. I just thought it was really cool.
Awesome. Switch it up. We're going to go down to Emil. Emil, thoughts on this one?
Okay, so initial thought was like, first, is this from a, some kind of Pokemon character? But second thought goes to, I could definitely see this as a scene from a Gundam movie. Like a mechanic in one of the Gundam movies, but we're approaching the end, and it's time to, everyone has to suit up. Put down your tools and pick up your guns.
Cool.
I think it's a cool.
Pablo always kills it. Like, his photos are so good. Definitely a talented dude. I think this might be a figure from Metal Slug. It's an old, like, side-scroller military video game. You had like 2 male characters or 2 female characters that you could pick. Just amazing. He's done quite a few of these with these characters, and there we go. And I know stuff sometimes. And it's just an amazing photo. I love it, especially with the downtime type look of it. It's not a combat photo. It's that in between the action. There's a power up on that crate in the back, so she's gonna finish putting on her jacket, grab that gun, power up, and go kick some butt. So love it.
Beautiful.
This is right before the cats in the apocalypse.
When I looked at this, I kind of got Pokemon vibes, kind of like Emil was saying. I'm not sure what this like locker thing is, but I think it's really cool. I like that a lot. I'm not sure what, whether that came from a certain toy line or if he made that, but I just think that part's really cool. But yeah, it's just a really neat shot. Did a great job.
And
next,
real quick,
oh yeah, go ahead.
I looked it up. It's the Fury Toys, not Fury Toys, Sun Wukong, Great Sage Equal to Heaven, Journey to the West figure.
That was a mouthful right there. Okay.
I didn't even read all of it because I think I have the battle damage version on my screen.
All right. Next one is one of my picks. This is at whatsup.danger on Instagram. I did not pick up this. I mean, I've been really good with the Mafex, only picking up the heroes, not the villains. This one was very tempting, but I didn't get it. But man, this thing looks good right here. I mean, the figure itself looks cool, but the shot that he's got, in the cemetery and the moon in the background, like this is just killer. I love it. And even like the side lighting on his face. This just came out great. So pop down to Emil.
Yeah, this is one of those photos when you see it and then you start to thinking like, maybe I should pick up a few figures from this line, whatever line it is, So that's a good feeling to get when you see a photo that you like, you want more. I think this is a really cool, moody and scary picture.
Yeah.
I'm not much into scary movies, even though I like scary pictures and art. But I was like, yeah, this reminds me of some of my, the horror movies I shouldn't see when I was a kid.
Joe?
Yeah, I really, the figure looks great. I really personally like the makeup of the photo where it almost looks like he's holding the moon or casting a spell, that's bringing the moon out. That kind of gives it that supernatural vibe. I mean, I could see where, he would be a lot more terrifying looking, like he has control over the moon, which definitely leans into the Scarecrow character. So yeah, I like this a lot.
For sure. Jesse?
I know it's Scarecrow from Batman, but just in this lighting and the pose and everything, it feels kind of like a twisted version of Wizard of Oz. Like Dorothy comes across the Scarecrow at the wrong time, and it's maybe not the McFarlane twisted. That was a little bit too far for my personal tastes, but but this is a great shot. The posing is great, and Joe, the way you're describing, like it's almost like he just like snapped his fingers and like the clouds disappeared around the moon or something. And I think that's a really fun shot.
Oh, look at that! We got the Lynn LaGuardia.
Hello,
here. So. I think the reason first of all, it's an amazing photo anyway, but also we're all starting to get Necronominous, and this just really felt to me like a Trevor Williams type picture, like something that you would see from those, shots that we get for Mythic Legions. It just felt along those lines. So And
For sure.
you know, I think that's a pretty good compliment if you got your work looking like Trevor's. Here's one of Jesse's.
So this is what is this? Phoenix_Force_Creations. Did a custom of the new X-Men Jean Grey, which I'm not a fan of that era of the story, but this custom is absolutely phenomenal. Like they always do a great job with like the hair and the face repaints, but just making that costume look cool, I thought was really fun. And they do a lot of really cool Marvel and comic book customs on their page.
Cool. Joe?
Yeah, I wouldn't want her reading my mind after seeing her in that outfit, you know, with leather.
Maybe you
I
do
don't think
read your mind.
she'd have to read anybody's mind.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Really cool. I mean, I haven't read comics in a really long time, but you know, the outfit and everything would make me want to check them out just to see what direction they're going with things. Super cool custom.
Cool. Emil?
I don't remember this era of the X-Men. Are you saying that the cape is also custom made or it is repainted?
It's a coat, I think. It's supposed to be like a duster jacket, I think. But this was after the movies came out and they tried to make all the characters look a little more realistic in the books. Like, you know, it was all like black and like functional uniforms, and it just was a lot less fun. But this custom makes it look more fun.
Yeah, I love how they've got the really tall shoes. That definitely makes it comfortable and functional. You know, while she's walking around like Frankenstein's creature. But I love the shot here. I love that you've got, you know, the what do they call it? Where the school that they're in. Isn't there a name for the school?
Xavier's.
Yeah, whatever.
Institute.
How they have the whole school in the background and stuff looks cool here, and the gates. I love the way you put this shot together. Looks neat. And also, folks, keep in mind as we're going through these, if you're not following any of these folks on Instagram, throw them a follow because it'll make your Instagram so much cooler. Next, this is one of my picks. This is from Eye of Watu. And man, I just thought this was a really cool scene. Like you got the you know, Robin perched up there on the top on that bat signal and you know, Commissioner Gordon and the, you know, Batman, like just that whole rooftop scene looks really nice. One thing that I've heard kind of complaints about this Robin figure is that he's pretty tall compared to the Batman. Like he should, you know, maybe be a little bit shorter. So I love how they've, you know, had him in that really squatted position and they've got him not next to each other. So you don't really get that, you know, that negative maybe, I guess, with that figure. So, and I'm not sure where, like if that actually is a Commissioner Gordon or if that's something from another line, but it looks great. If anybody knows what that figure is, let me know. Cause that looks awesome. So, we'll go to Jesse.
Great shot, classic scene. I love how it takes kind of that you know, the 60s vibe and aesthetic, you know, those costumes and everything, and it makes it feel a little more like I don't need Batman to be dark and gritty like the Snyder movies, but this makes it feel a little less campy, but still fun. It's a really, really awesome shot. Those are great looking figures, and the bat signal is really cool too.
Joe.
Yeah, Tom kills it every time. I don't think I've seen a single photo that he's posted that hasn't had me going, wow, that's amazing. And here's another one. You know, the light effect draws your eye to it, it seems like to me anyways, and then you just kind of like go right to the bat signal and then move to the characters afterwards. They look really cool. I really like the aesthetic of this whole thing.
Beautiful. Emil.
This is an amazing photo. I love it. And like you said, I think it's very smart the way where the characters have been placed. But one of the big things, I mean, it's a superb, the lighting and the posing, but it's like, you know, that when you get that classic feeling that it just feels right and you're intrigued to the story. I mean, I'm trying to see what was my initial feeling, and that was to just, you know, take out a few Frank Miller Batman comics and start reading. You know, it's like it draws me in into the story, and I think that's high praise for photos when you
for sure.
when you
Yes, it makes you want to play with toys. That's great.
play with toy and you start to think about what everyone's thinking about, and you are actually playing with the toys while watching the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I didn't know that there even was a Mesco Commissioner Gordon, but I'm gonna have to check that out because that looks awesome. So I'll take a look at that. And then the last one that I've got for the day, I think that's the last one we got total. This is from Zombie 13, Eric Bories in the Cabal. Zombie's been around doing customs forever, and he kills it. He's one of the best. And I love this repaint. We've seen a lot of people doing stuff with that kind of shadow circle, kind of teals and blacks, to do it on, this kind of bog goblin-esque, head and the arms and feet and stuff with those scaled arms and feet. This looks awesome. So I think he just killed this. I also love the blue coming from the mouth and the tongue. Like it's very striking. So really good job here. Jesse, sorry.
This is great. I always love when I see new stuff from Zombie or stuff I hadn't seen before. This is cool. Just, is that shield painted, or is that the one weapons pack version of the shield?
I'm not sure. I know
there
was one that came with an all-in, and I can't. Joe, I'm sure, has everything.
I do have it, but I can't see it from where I'm at right now.
There was one. I think wasn't it the Arethyr all-in that like came with a shield extra if you bought it?
If you ordered it like the first day, yeah.
Gotcha. So it may be that, or maybe repainted. Not sure.
If Zombie didn't paint it, it's still a cool looking shield with this figure. Like, it's a nice color contrast. If he did paint it, it looks amazing, and I think it looks really cool. But yeah, the custom, I love that bright blue tongue on the kind of that. It feels kind of like something like the Bahamas or Caribbean bog goblin. Like I don't know. Yeah, it feels really cool.
It kind of reminds me in like Finding Nemo, where you had like those fish that have the thing that like lights up underwater and stuff. Like, I kind of expect his mouth to like glow, like when he opens his mouth, like it lights up or something.
That was my initial thought as well. Like, he's luring I'm gonna go.
Was it the anglerfish?
I'm fishing. I'm just gonna be like,
right. All right, Emil, we'll go to you next.
That fluorescent, that bright mouth is one thing, and the paint job is it's spectacular. I absolutely love it. Going to the build of it, it is. It's even. I wouldn't say that it's better, because I like all of these things that I've mentioned about it. But when you look at these arms on this character, and I'm always intrigued when I look at something like, that looks perfect. That looks exactly as it's meant to be. Like, those arms were made for this character, and I have never even thought about that. It's never crossed my mind. Like, those would be cool with the bog goblin head, and I'm always intrigued when I see something like that. It's great.
Joe.
Yeah, same exact thought. As soon as I saw the arms, I was just like, dang, how did I never think of that? Just perfect with that head and those feet. I like the color choice for the mouth. It almost reminds me, some fish will evolve where it lures prey towards their mouth, exactly, where a bright color inside the mouth will actually lure other fish in, or insects or something like that. And that, I totally get those vibes. Just amazing.
So I just realized, as we're kind of talking about the build and stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, because like I know Zombie didn't make it to Legion's Con, and I remembered he messaged me to ask if I had an extra set of the arms from the Cosmic 2-pack from the alien one, the Novian lean kind of head and the scaled arms. I think that's what he used it for, because he asked me to send him a pair of arms, which I did, and I guess this is the creation that came out of it. So there you go. It's come full circle, and now I've made it a shelf selection. So there you go. But yeah,
this is all. I'm doing my part.
Yeah, I did. I said
creator.
Yeah.
There is one more.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't put it in the slideshow because you're putting it together, or I couldn't send it to you. So I thought this was really cool. It was recommended, but I was going to put this in anyway. This guy, I'm not gonna do that. Art by Akerman, our own Curtis right here, did this awesome repaint of Doomsday where he turned a random rock dude into actual Doomsday. Because not trying to diss McFarlane stuff, but the paint apps on that were very minimal. And you totally transformed this figure, and it definitely needed to be on here.
Well, I appreciate that. It's one of those we only have so much time to do our hobbies, right? And so I try not to spend it working on McFarlane figures because I'd rather work with Legions. But this is a character that I absolutely love from the comics. And it's a sculpt that they did an amazing job on. Like, you look at it and you look at the details in the sculpt, and they just killed it. And then they just went way lazy on the paint. So, I mean, you don't see here the different. If I'll pull it up while Joe and Emil are talking, but just kind of the difference between the start and finish. But like the bands on the arms weren't painted. Most of this thing was just sculpted in a certain color and then left that way. It had like 0 paint apps on it. And I was like, it just made me sad. Like, I loved the figure, but it made me sad to look at it. Like, it could be so much more. And so, yeah, I wanted to repaint it. And normally there's a lot of times where I'm not like super stoked about my own work. Like, I think it's okay, but it's not. But this one I was really proud of. I was really happy with how this turned out. So
Curtis, but when you see this one, and just imagine being the sculptor of this figure, and then seeing the released version, and then it's like, this is my job. I have to focus on my part of the job, and then see what you did with it. That's like doing the sculpt justice. When you sent this photo, before and after pic that you're gonna show, I assume, it's like this is one of the more impressive things that I've seen you painted. In the overall feeling of the whole character when you look at it, and I was like, wow. And I'm glad that you brought it up, Jesse, here, because you deserve all the credit for this. Well, all the praise for it, man.
I appreciate that. Joe?
It's all right.
Joe, can you tell me how awesome I am?
Can you tell Curtis more?
I mean, I've seen better, but
so
I'm kidding.
There's the before and after.
Yeah, it looks like completely different figures. I mean, you did an incredible job, Curtis. You deserve all the credit in the world for sure, man. That somebody who would see your repaint would be like, where's that figure? And they would look at the original and think it was a different figure. Like that's how much of a difference it is.
Well, the one of the things that I got from this that I really love was Joe Vasapolo said, if McFarlane painted their figures like this and charged an extra $15, I would gladly pay it in a heartbeat. And I was like, that's freaking cool. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was, like I said, it was really just for me. I just wanted it in my collection. I wanted that figure to, have some justice done. So thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So that is now officially the end of shelf selections, but got a couple other things to pull up here. Let me actually remove this for a second. So we've had Emil on several times. We've talked to Emil on other shows and whatnot, and pretty much every time we have on Emil, I tell people to go to his YouTube channel, right? And I tell them specifically to go check out this story that he did. It's called The Mauritius Treasure. And I love this thing, man. I watch it every year around Christmas time. Now, it doesn't actually have like Santa in it. It doesn't have anything that relates to Christmas, but it's got that feel to me. I've talked to Jesse about how I love Christmas movies, how it makes you feel and like you want to be a better person after watching them and that kind of thing. And that's what I get from watching that thing that he put together. And it's from a book that he wrote a long time ago. And yeah, I'll turn it over to Emil and kind of, you can talk about kind of what is going on with this story now that people they've seen on YouTube and stuff, but what's the next stage?
Yep. Well, you, Curtis, you really, thank you for, you're really, I don't know how to say it, but I mean, your encouragement and your reactions to this means a lot. It means tremendously. And it was so I wrote this Swedish book, in 2006. So it's almost 20 years old, and I wanted to try different things. I figured out, I wonder if it's possible to publish your own book. So I wrote it and did the illustrations and stuff like that, and had it published. I used a printer in China, and I wanted to try different things. But the thing is that as soon as the book arrived, I was like on to the next project, and that was done. And it was a lot of fun. And then I had it laying around. A lot of people who bought it here in Sweden. And then a couple of years ago, I figured that I want to put this up. I'm fond of the story, because I don't know. You said it. It makes me happy to read it, even though it's many years later. And I used to work as a school teacher, and I read it to some of my class. They had to listen to it while I was working on it. And they really appreciated it, and they were I don't know. I wanted to write a children's book that was kind. At that time, there was some weird children's book, and it was, almost like made you sad. That is not how I remember how I want children's book to be. I want to, feel some kind of adventure, and I want to be, want them to have a good. I want them to be nice. So I recorded this a couple of years ago. I translated it to English. Curtis and his wonderful Darla read it through and listened to it, and gave me feedback, and then I put it up on YouTube. And today I uploaded it as a book on Amazon. It's going to be in a couple of days. It's going to be if they don't ban it or something, it's going to be available on Amazon. And I guess Curtis is to blame for this because his kind words, that he's kept talking about, and I'm like, okay, I do all of these kind of different projects, and this is something that I just want it out there. It doesn't have to be a bestseller. It doesn't have to be. I just want to make sure that it's available there. So soon it will be. And you can listen to it for free on YouTube, so you don't have to go and buy it. I'm reading it, so you can listen to it and the art is there on YouTube. So I guess that's it. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I just put the link in the chat there if anybody wants to kind of save that for later, or you can just go to Emil's page and see it. I'm excited for this book to come out. I think that when people see or hear this story or watch this story, I think they'll absolutely fall in love with it because it's just got a lot of good heart to it. And I did want to pull up this little message that you put in there, and just see if you could kind of talk to us about like what this message and what this book kind of means.
It makes more sense once you've read it, I think, and I don't want to spoil the ending.
Okay.
But we can read this text that I had a few pages left in the book, because, and I figured that I wanted to leave a message with a book, and
Gotcha.
This is it. When I wrote this book, hello everyone. When I wrote this book, I wanted to make a story that would encourage kindness. I believe in the power of caring, and that it is one of the great treasures of life that benefits everyone. There is also another important side to this. We all have a responsibility to ourselves to choose how we respond to life, to lift our heads and see the kindness and goodness around us. Be a part of it. Take care of each other. Kind regards, Emil. And that is, that there are some times when it's hard to choose to smile. It's hard to choose the good thing, and that's. I'm not saying to skip that. Always go around and smile. That is not what I'm saying. But I encourage everyone to see, what we have around us.
And Emma will be happy to sign it for you for a nominal fee.
No,
So is this something that you anticipate having on your table at Legions Con?
Yes.
Yes. I'm honestly, this is really something that, you know, we've talked about this, Curtis. I'm not trying to be a salesperson here, that's why I'm saying you can listen to it for free on YouTube. But I am really happy to, you know, if I'm gone or whatever will happen, I want the book to be there, and that's why I put it up on Amazon, you know, so it's available for people to keep buying it. I just wanted to not have it left in my drawer or the few books that I have around here. If you want to, you can get it at Amazon soon, and I will have it at Legions Con, if for nothing else than just to make sure that Curtis isn't teasing me about it the whole weekend. So I could bring a couple of books, but I don't know. I hadn't planned.
So go out to Amazon once this is available. We'll get the information from Emil once it's out there. We'll make sure we let you guys know about it. Go out and get your book, secure it, make sure you have one, bring it to Legions Con so Emil can sign it. You can tell him how great the book is. If for some reason you didn't get it, you forgot, whatever, and you're walking by his table and then you go, oh yeah, I forgot, he'll hopefully have somebody. Try to secure yours through Amazon if possible. So you're gonna want this, folks. I'm telling you, this is a good one. So
it's easier when you talk about it than I.
Yeah. Oh, Jesse, you're muted. Or maybe your mic got unplugged or something. But Darla says, can't wait for the book. Love hearing Emil read it on YouTube. He does the voices. Yeah, the voices are great. So
thank you, Darla.
Nope, we don't have you, Jesse. I'm sorry. But we do love you. So
indeed we do.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. And you know, I know that you're uber talented and you do a lot of stuff with sculpting and customs and you've done animation and you've done all kinds of cool stuff. To me, this is the best thing you've done. Like, this is the thing that I look at and I go, this just exudes Emil. Like, it's just like I can see your heart in this, and I love it so much. So
thank you. And
how about now?
Yep, yeah. We got you, Jesse.
I guess, Curtis, that is the only thing that I can vow for with the book, that is my heart in it. You know, awesome. I can't say anything else. I can't say if it's good or nothing, but I can say that I put my heart in, and it is my heart in it. And when I was going to publish it now, I was like thinking maybe I should, you know, it's 20 years ago. Maybe I should redraw it, you know.
Mm-mm.
And my wife was like, no, you don't think so? Because at 20 years, a lot have happened. You know, it's like, so and she was right, of course, because it's like, yeah, let's keep it this way. And, we can all do new stuff without taking away the old.
Beautiful. Well, I'm excited. Jesse, now that you've got your mic, let's hear what your thoughts are.
What I was trying to say is, if you come to Legions Con and you don't pick one up at Emil's table, you go immediately past Curtis's table next, so he will make sure you go back and get one.
Yes, I will. I will force you to turn around. Hey, by the way, did you stop by Emil's table and get his book? If not,
that's how you're going to get your ribbon from Curtis's table, is if you got the book from Emil.
Right. Totally. Yeah, that's cool. I'm so excited for that. That's cool.
And also, Emil.
Yep.
We all saw what happened with the special edition when George Lucas went back and redid stuff 20 years later. So,
yeah, sometimes it's best just leave it alone. Just
something became better. We got a few more ships in the sky in this place.
Some things were better, but overall, people were like, "This doesn't taste the way I remember it anymore."
Yeah. Let's see the book and Little Glass Dragon from
sorry,
the Little Glass Dragon from Darla. Yeah, I don't know what she's gonna have. She may have something else in a glass thing this year. I'm not sure. They were pretty popular. So awesome. Well, glad to have you guys on. Like we said earlier, typically when we do these early shows, we try to reach out across the pond and see who we can get.
And funny story with that, because Curtis just gets a hold of me and he's like, "Hey, we're going to have Emil on. I would like to have somebody on the other end of the creative spectrum, to kind of offset Emil being there." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So.
No, that is not what I said. I said Emil's going to be on, and we could talk Baldur's Gate, and we could talk God's Fire, and it'll be a lot of fun. What do you think, Joe? And he's like, "Heck yeah, sign me up." So
that sounds more reasonable. Yeah.
So.
See, it's not as fun when they turn the tables around on you and make you say
right?
things you didn't say, right?
I know, right? So I do want to talk a little Baldur's Gate, and I don't want to go too far in it because I know Jesse hasn't played, and I don't want him to be completely out of this conversation. But I've had a ton of fun playing this game, and I didn't play 1 and 2, and I know you guys had. And so I didn't know like any of the lore. And I really, before I started playing Baldur's Gate, I had never even played D&D before. So like even the whole, turn-based and all the different roles and stuff, like I didn't get it. But I started playing it and I absolutely fell in love with this thing. I mean, got obsessed with it. I mean, I've played, 6 full run-throughs at this time. So for you guys that have kind of played the first 2 and now you get to this one, like what are your thoughts on this game and how it came together and just the franchise as a whole? We'll start with Joe.
So Baldur's Gate 2 is still, I mean, I think it came out in 2002. It is still my favorite video game of all time. I'm a big CRPG player. Like I love.
Can you break that down for people that don't know? CRPG?
I think at this point they've decided that CRPG means computer role-playing game. It's basically a video game that is based off of tabletop role-playing game.
Okay.
And that's what drew me into the original Baldur's Gate. I had started playing 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons when I was 15. And then I saw like, hey, here's a video game that's based off of, 2nd edition D&D. Super excited to play it, played it, loved it. Felt like at the time, role-playing games in America were kind of dying out. Baldur's Gate brought life back into that genre of video games. Baldur's Gate 2 came out and just totally just blew my mind. Like it is still to this day, I think, one of the best role-playing video games that has ever been made. The story, when I completed that game, I was sad because I felt like I was losing friends. That's how well written it was and how much that they like drew me into the plot. So I'm not sure what that means. But
there's Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3. So he's saying, why do they need 3 separate gates?
Baldur.
Yeah.
The game is named after Baldurian, an explorer and adventurer that founded the city of Baldur's Gate. For anybody who cares to know, you can find his butter knife in part 1.
All right.
Yeah, Baldur's butter knife. So for me, when I heard the announcement, now I love Larian Studios. They've done some amazing games. But when I heard that it was being done and it wasn't being done by BioWare, the original developer of the game, I was like, stay away from my game. Like I love this thing. Don't touch it. Like we tend to do as super fans. And what Larian did was take a genre that's always been kind of a secondary genre, one that's not as popular as other ones in the mainstream, and put a AAA treatment on it. And it's fully voice acted. All the mocap, for the character movements, they took something that I love and made it better than I thought that it could be. It's still not as good as Baldur's Gate 2, but it's an amazing game. And I'm so happy that studio took it on and did and did it justice, the justice it deserved.
Awesome. And Emil, you?
Yeah, I haven't played the first one. I think I played Baldur's Gate 2. I think, I mean, that my experiences are great. And when we talk about it now, I realize that, did I ever finish that game? I maybe need to go to YouTube, double check, like if I
You didn't have
remember
me
that.
there at the time telling you need to finish, you need to finish, you need to finish. So that's probably what it was. Yeah.
We were like, when I was studying at the university, I had two friends in the same corridor that also play that. So we played some together, and I remember, you know, experiences like that. We're like sitting in our own rooms and like trying to beat this boss or that, and then it's like, nope, okay, corridor, and everyone went out the corridor, and we're like, okay, so what you have to go over there, and it's like, and then we went into our room. So that is one of the strongest memories, like something
That's
like
awesome.
that. Even though I remember it extremely fondly, and especially characters from that, you know, and that, I mean, you don't, in Baldur's Gate 3, you don't need to know about those characters to enjoy the game. You didn't know this
I knew nothing about them.
Who have played Baldur's Gate love Baldur's Gate 3,
Mm-hmm.
have no idea. But there is also something for all us old people who you know, old fans, has like, I can sit, you know, small tiny details, a conversation or something, and then it's like I'll be sitting like, who can I tell this? And I'm not even exaggerating. Okay, maybe a little bit, but it's kind of like that. And Baldur's Gate 3, I would say, is better than Baldur's Gate 2. But it's, I mean, how can you really compare a game that is like from 2002 without? I mean, so let's focus on them as two different things. The role-playing aspect of Baldur's Gate, the freedom to create something, like whatever you do, even if you're playing any role-playing game whatsoever, not just Baldur's Gate, any role-playing, that feeling of I can do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd rarely have that in a video game or a computer game. And then it's like you play this game and you're like, well, if I would play Dungeons and Dragons or something with my friends, I would try to do this, but I mean, of course, that's not going to work because that's stupid. And then you try it in the game, and then they're like, what? So they've actually succeeded in taking role-playing game and making a computer game out of it. And that, I think, is the biggest thing. And all the, you know, the encounters with people. You never have a conversation with someone, you know, an NPC, you know, any computer character, and have that feeling of, oh, this was just added there so we'll get more conversation. It feels like every conversation, how stupid, silly, small, it's like, that was fun. And sometimes it has a purpose, but it feels someone has been thinking a lot about it.
Yeah,
just
so
like with the role playing, like you can do, you know, crazy things, stupid things that won't lead anywhere, but there's going to be fun to try them out.
hey now. Yeah, so for me, I had never played any of those other ones. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was looking for a game. This was, what is this, like 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, something like that. And my son was getting a PlayStation 5. And I was like looking for a game to play, and Joe just kept talking about this thing. He's like, you know, you gotta get this. And I'm like, okay, so I'll try it. And I was just amazed at the amount of options that you have to decide things. Like you can decide what type of character you're going to play, like what class, what race, how they're going to look, what group that you're going to put together. Like it's not just, hey, here are your 3 companions for the whole game and that's it. It's like you have other people throughout the way, and you can decide what your party makeup is going to be. You can decide which paths you go and who you align yourself with and what things you want to go out and tackle. And there's quests, and you can decide which quests you want to do and how you want to do it. And it's just, there's so many options. Like I said, at this point, I've played full all the way through 6 times with 6 completely different endings, because I'm making different choices along the way and bringing different people along with me and whatnot. And it reminds me of when I was a kid and I would read those like choose your adventure books. I don't know if you guys remember those, but like you would go and you'd read a page and it would say, if you want to do this thing, you go to page 57. And if you want to do this thing, you go to page 22 and whatever. And so then you would go to that and then you would read that page and it would say, okay, if you want to do this, you go to the, and it was like that. And then you would finish, you go, oh my goodness, that was a really cool story. And then the next time you go through it, it's completely different. And that's what this game is for me. It's like just an unlimited possibilities based on what you decide to do.
Let's say I'm on my second playthrough. I finished the game 2 weeks ago or something with like 140 plus hours spent, well spent time, well spent time. And I all through the adventure, I was thinking, well, when I'm done, I probably won't start over. Instantly when I was done, I had the perfect ending. I loved the ending for me. And then I was like, I'm going to start my new character right now. And I've started playing my second run through. And like you said, you have this image of now I've seen everything. And then you instantly realize I hadn't seen much. For example, like I'm a tiefling now, one of those characters with big horns, and you're like looked down upon by other races because they're like from hell.
Okay.
Yeah. And you come into, one small conversation. It's like you meet a tiefling that is talking, he's really talking down on some humans that he's talking to. He's really, like, oh, why did you do this? And I go up and I talk to them. And I instantly see new conversation options just because I'm a tiefling talking to another tiefling. And one of the options is like, well, because you have to roll high and convince him not to be angry and stuff like that. But they have that tiefling option. Like, well, come on, he doesn't know better. He's human. And I don't have to roll any dice or anything. He's just like, yeah, you're right. That's sort of me. He wouldn't know better. And it's like, what? Tiny thing. And then you have like all these, branches going out in all the different conversations. And then you're like, it gets me excited to see what else will be different when I walk around this world.
So like my second playthrough, I was like, okay, this time I know there's some areas that maybe I didn't explore. There's some people that I didn't talk to. So I'm going to make sure I hit up everything on my second run so that I don't have to play a third run. And then I got done and I realized there was still stuff. Like I talked to every person. I went into every building. And still there's stuff that I missed. And the third time through, I was like, how did I miss that the first two times? Like it's a crazy world full of possibilities for sure.
A close friend of mine who's, we talk, many times every week, and he's playing it as well. He just finished it this weekend. But along the way, I was like, we tried to converse about this without spoiling anything for the other.
Yeah. And
then I was like, at one time, so what is this character? What's her story for you? I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't have. And he was like, who? But this character, well, you meet her at this and this place. No, she died. And I'm like,
boy.
Oh, wow. And that's like, okay, and finishing the game. So important characters can die here and there, and the game will,
I had two major characters that you meet early on the game that I completely missed on my first run through. Like they never joined my party because I didn't go to the area where they were, and like I just never saw them. So then like afterwards I'm like, so I finished my first run through and I'm like, well, who should I align myself with next? I'm like, who should I have in my party? And it mentions these characters. I'm like, who the hell are those characters? I never met them. I'm like, I totally missed that. So but yeah, very cool. Jesse, I know you haven't played the game, but you've been in the kind of D&D world for a while, and you've seen, the just unlimited possibilities based on what, decisions a party member makes or as a group, things that you do. Any thoughts on kind of what we've been talking about or anything else that you'd want to add to that?
Well, yeah, just real quick. I've not played, like you said, any of the Baldur's Gate games. I mean, I got into playing like Final Fantasy 7 and 8, 9, back in college days. I really liked those, but they were limited with the role play aspect of it. It was, choose one or two options, and, and at certain points you had to make the right choice in order to progress the story along. It wasn't like major different outcomes, So I think it's really cool for a computer game or, console game, whatever you want to call it, that they've got it developed to the point where you, like you were just saying, how you get different characters on your playthrough to join your party that you didn't even know existed, or different ones die, and that you can get different outcomes based on what you do in the game. I think that's really cool. And I'm not trying to say that to take away this next thing, to take away from that, but with the in-person game, like not in person, but the actual tabletop with the pen and paper with a DM, making stuff up as you go along. I mean, you're literally only limited to what your group's creative imagination come up with, within the story he's telling you. If you make certain decisions, like the game we play in at the table, if we don't take care of certain events in the city that we're living in, like eventually those things will, for lack of a better analogy, the water will boil over and we'll have to deal with repercussions of not dealing with it. So it all just depends on who's doing it, what the group wants to get into. So I think it's really cool that a game that's limited to what access it has on a disc or drive, even a network, can give you so many options. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's like the difference between like watching a movie or being in a movie, right? like you could play a game that's like a side scroller that the computer is determining where your start and end point is going to be, and instead you're making the decisions that's going to determine where that goes and where you end up.
Yeah, I think that most games, and this isn't any slight against them, but you are playing through a story.
Yeah,
like the story is set. You're playing a character that's going through a story. Where Baldur's Gate 3, you are crafting the story through your decisions as you go, and they were very mindful of that in their design of the game. That your decisions really matter.
And that is something, because I played open world games where I've stopped playing because of the world being so big and lack of story. In Baldur's Gate, you still at some time have to progress the story, and it's the pace is good enough. You have plenty of time to do a lot of stuff. But I played Daggerfall a long time ago, and that PC game, it's basically, a lot of the it's huge, and when you start the game, villages and cities, they are auto-generated, but they're still there on the map, and the maps are, I think they're way bigger than Skyrim and games like that, right? Even though Skyrim is bigger, Daggerfall is, it's crazy, and it was so much fun. I was like, but it's still, that wouldn't work for me today, because sometimes you want to, move the story along, and the story is great in this game.
That was my big problem. Not problem. I love the older Bethesda RPGs, but there was kind of like no rails at all. And I know when I was younger and playing them, sometimes I'd have trouble, like, what am I supposed to do next? Like, I don't even know. I'm just wandering around these giant maps, like trying to figure out what to do.
You're always on your way somewhere.
Right.
You can go where you want, but when you need to know where to go, there's always one way to go. So it's.
So I wanted to kind of transition from Baldur's Gate into kind of talking about.
Because I've been avoiding pop figures for a long time, but
look at that. That's cool.
I have the released Baldur's Gate pop figures.
I didn't even know they made those. That's cool.
And there is one, and this is Oh, and Carla, she has teddy bear,
Nice.
Right on.
and then
Nice.
this is
Do they
my
have a Mintara? Because she's my favorite.
she is,
It's funny that the biggest jerk in the game would be Curtis's favorite.
I
So
know, right? She's awesome. I love her.
this is my lady.
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
question, if I may.
Yeah.
It's about these. I wanted to get the Carlac. I haven't gotten it because I don't know enough about the character. Is she a cool character, or she just look cool?
yeah.
She's a cool character. She's very good-hearted. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yeah, see, I don't collect pops at all, but I do have a Minsk and Boo pop. So
I have that one.
so do they have all the characters?
No, these three, but Minsk and Boo is from Dungeons and Dragons back in the days.
Oh, from the back. Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it's an older one.
These
I
three
got
are the
it.
ones we did so far, and it's like,
Gotcha.
sorry, everyone.
So- No, you're fine.
But it's worth, just for everybody who's watching, it's worth playing any of the Baldur's Gate games for Minsk and Boo. Just the most.
I will tell you,
amazing.
my 6 run-throughs, I have not had Minsk in my party one time.
And to your detriment, because you are missing out on one of the most amazing characters in the entire franchise.
Yes.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but it's
Don't do
later.
that.
It's later that you and at that point I feel like by the time I'm in my run through, I feel kind of comfortable with my group dynamic, and it's like, do I want to upset the apple cart by bringing somebody else in? And at some point I'm going to have to, because I want to see, what the options, because I know there's like different chat options and stuff, because throughout the game you'll encounter some people that, depending on who's in your party, there's totally different options because they recognize that person, they know them from the past or whatever. So I understand there's going to be some of that, so I'll have to do that, but I just haven't yet. So
when you do, you will be saying, "Go for the eyes, Boo," just like the rest of us.
okay. So transitioning from Baldur's Gate 3 into just kind of D&D, I want to talk about kind of experience and history with D&D for the folks on the screen, because each one of us is at this point kind of doing some sort of D&D stuff, and want to talk about like how that began. So I figured I would start with the person that's massively older than everybody else, and that's Joe.
Who is Curtis's age? Yeah.
No, I mean, come on, look at you, look at me, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
So
My
Joe,
mustache is still all one color, Curtis.
being as you're so much massively older than all of us, Joe, tell us a little bit about how you originally got into D&D, what that was like, and kind of what that journey has been for you.
Yeah, so when I was 15, some friends of mine, and I've told this story quite a few times, so I'll shorten it a little bit, but some very good friends of mine had a family member who had been playing D&D since the 70s. And this was in the early-ish 90s, early to mid 90s. And they were like, "Hey, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Do you want to try it out?" And, my only real exposure to Dungeons and Dragons had been like the cartoon and the Satanic Panic stuff, from the 80s. So, of course, I was like, to my friend John, I was like, "Isn't that game where you have to worship the devil?" And he was like, "Well, you can, but you don't have to, it's not a requirement." So I tried it out, and it was amazing. So the way we played back then, there were storylines, but we played it kind of more like, because we were young, we played it more like a board game. Our main goal was getting out and getting treasure, and I bought a castle, and all these minions that I have, and we were kids, so we were excited to get stuff and have rewards. And that's where the original Baldur's Gate kind of changed the narrative of role playing, because I played the game and it's a story driven game. And when I played Baldur's Gate, I was like, "Oh my God, this can be so much more," because there was no like YouTube or anything. The only exposure I had to D&D was through the people that I played with. Then I played Baldur's Gate 1, and I was like, I want to tell stories. And I've been playing D&D ever since. since I was 15 to now. It's the only hobby that's been consistent in all that time. And the biggest joy to me is telling stories, when, to use an example from Legion's Quest, when one of the
Available
NPCs,
now on the Offworld podcast.
there it is, when one of the NPCs that is not a real person, it's a pretend person, gets grabbed by a villain and injured, and the party goes, "Oh my God, we have to save her," and goes into action and actually does things that I, as a dungeon master, don't expect them to do to try to save this pretend person. It brings me so much joy.
When you make me care so much about a donkey that doesn't exist, to the point where when the donkey is missing and there's just like a blood trail, and I'm so worried that something bad has happened to that donkey, like the amount of emotion that was tied into that was, crazy.
Yeah, and I think that, as a game, because it is just a game, but that's the joy for me, is the storytelling aspects of just getting and like building this world, of things that are make believe but still matter to a group of people. I think is just really cool and really fun, and it's something that I'll probably enjoy until I'm, my brain doesn't work well enough to do it anymore. So
I got to add on to that real quick. The best part of that, though, was like, I was like, Curtis is going to rage quit this game if Joe has killed this donkey. So the best part was hearing the stories of, spoiler alert for folks who haven't gotten to that episode yet, how many orcs this donkey like killed in his struggle to like survive.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's amazing how much you made me feel for that donkey. So being that what you said, like the storytelling and stuff. So obviously you're our DM for the game Dungeon Master, folks. See, I'm picking this stuff up like
hotcakes.
Yeah, so you're a Dungeon Master and you do an amazing job with voices and story and crafting these fights and all this and that. Do you enjoy the DMing as much as you do playing it yourself? Do you ever feel like, hey, I'm kind of missing out on the group dynamic and doing part of that because you're leading the story part, or because you've done both sides, you've done DMing and playing. Like, tell me your thoughts on both of those roles.
It's for me personally, it's a completely different experience running a game and playing in a game. So when I'm running a game, I'm everyone that the player characters aren't in the game, for anybody who doesn't know. So there's a lot of variety out there. It's a lot of fun telling a story and building a world and getting the characters to, the players, these guys, to care about the things that they're doing and places that they're going, the things they're trying to accomplish. Or even there's been several times that Curtis has tried to catch me off guard, with his character and do something unexpected and stuff. And thank goodness I have the experience that I can just roll with whatever he does.
You can just pivot.
Right. And that's, and that's a whole experience because you're in control of this world. And I want to say it's more stressful, but not stressful in a negative way, but,
responsibility there. You have you have to keep it going in a certain direction.
If I lose the players, like if you guys think the characters start to not care about the things that are going on, that is really tough. That was something that, as a young game master, there was a few times where things went completely off the rails because the players just didn't care about my story. Now, thankfully, I have enough experience at this point that I can just, I know how to build things in a way where, you kind of care about what's going on and things like that. So that is a fun experience from the storytelling aspect. Now, being a player is a blast in a completely different way because I'm going to pick an archetype and I'm going to play that. And, if I'm a paladin, I'm going to be a righteous paladin who maybe is a little bit racist against, like goblins and orcs, for an example. Or if I'm a rogue and I'm playing that rogue, you know, he's gonna care about, you know, his other party members are his brothers, but everybody else is just targets, you know. And then you get to experience being just like this singular player character and having all this fun of, you know, how is he going to react to these different situations, and you know, so it's a for me a completely different experience. I enjoy both very, very much, and am more than willing to do either. So
that's cool. Emil, tell us a little about your D&D experience, like where you got started with that, and maybe you know, one or two of your fun stories if you got them.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Starting with role playing was a long time ago. Me and my friend was his older brother that started playing. You know, we just dipped our toes into it and just started it's a game called Mutants, and you know, it's in the future, and we did that one time. Then it took a long time before we ended up creating characters that were all mutated bears. So we're like big and strong. That was my first role-playing experience. But it took quite some time before I did some, you know, more advanced playing. But it's very tricky to explain role-playing for someone who, you know, like, so you're just sitting there and talking. Well, no. Well, but
we're also rolling dice.
Wouldn't that be like for someone who's tried to explain to you the wonders of reading a book?
Yeah.
For you, like, I'll stop listening right away. For someone who loves reading, you're not sitting and reading. You're entering a world of mysteries, or you know, fantasy worlds, or you're you know, you're transformed somewhere else. And to me, that is what role playing is. But you're going to this place together with 5 other people or something, and like, whew, so now we're here. Yeah, we're having coffee or drinks or whatever we are having, but we're also exploring this dungeon or trying to realize who we are, and then, you know, who are these other characters? Because when you're starting role playing, it's not always like all of these guys know each other. You have your backstory, and that could be while communicating with the dungeon master. You're like, this is your story, and this is your story. Then it's up to you to share it with the others, or if you want to keep this to yourself.
Oh, so that, like, there might be certain aspects of your backstory that you don't want to share, that maybe you're ashamed of, or maybe you need to keep it a secret for some reason, or.
And then there is this aspect of creating a character that you want to role play as. And I usually play as something big, like a half giant, or, you know, half orc barbarian, you know, big and happy, and, you know, like, I'm a bard barbarian kind of like, and people are, what? Does that work? It does. And, you know, it's like, and we've started now in my group. There was a long time, you know, we played Star Wars and everything, but I'm a goblin. I'm a sneaky little goblin, and I have some kind of wrong with my ear. They're extra large, so I can hear very well. They're like, something happened. And I hear well. I'm great at sneaking around. But I missed one thing that I realized could be when creating the character, and that was to detect danger. I'm very bad at detecting, because in my head I was like, I'm going to be good at sneaking up to the bad guys, and then, you know, find out stuff and then go back to the others. Something new. So one experience was we're in the sewers, and it was dark. We heard voices you know, in the distance, and I'm like, I'm gonna sneak over there, and I sneaked, and, you know, nobody saw me. And I was approaching there, and I'm nah, and then the DM told me, like, roll a dice. Sure. And that's so basically the people from that group, they walked right past me. So I detected the danger while they were here. And so I was good at sneaking, so they didn't see me, but I discovered them like this, and they were approaching my group. And here I was like, I know they're coming now, but my friends are over there, and how to play in that in that circumstance, and all of this is role playing. And then it's like, I should have made my character better at this, but that's also the fun part. This is how you are now. Use this and then role play. So stuff like that.
Awesome.
Actually,
Joe.
Playing off of that's another one of my favorite characters that I've ever played was for a Star Wars game. I used to play the Star Wars Saga Edition role-playing game, and I had a character who was a scoundrel. His name was Malduo, and he was a very roguish type character, and I made him have a high intelligence but a very low wisdom. So he was really smart, but not wise at all. So he'd get himself in these horrible situations doing really dumb things, but was intelligent enough to kind of talk his way out of it. And there were so many scenarios where, he would just get in these horrible situations, and I had a blast, like trying to weasel my way out of it, to the point that I think the other players at some points would actually hope that I would die, because it was just the dumbest stuff that I would do. And they're like, oh my God, he's going to get away with it again, kind of a scenario. So that can be fun to role play also.
Awesome. So Jesse, I want to turn to you and kind of get some of your history with D&D. But at the end, once you're done with that, give us, a little background and maybe a fun story or something. But at the end, I want you to evaluate the DM abilities of a one Mr. Joe Gonsalves. And I want to hear not only your favorite thing about Joe as a DM, but the thing that you like the least about Joe as a DM. So,
Nice.
Okay.
I like that.
All right.
Yep.
So, growing up, born in 79, early 80s, D&D was like no-go. I wasn't allowed to watch the cartoon, nothing to do with it. Like Joe mentioned, the Satanic Panic and all that stuff. And it was weird what I was able to not get away with, but what was acceptable and okay. Like He-Man was okay, but Dungeons and Dragons wasn't. It's just, whatever my parents heard, whatever. So I grew up like trying to ignore D&D, even though it sounded really cool. Yeah.
I just want to say real quick that it's ironic that if the people from the 80s that were worried about Satanic Panic actually looked at the people that played D&D, that they wouldn't have been concerned at all. It was 100% like a nerd's game. You know what I mean? It's just they didn't realize what
what's
kind
the
of people
chess
played
club
the game.
talking about demons for.
Right, exactly. Sorry.
And so I'd get comic books and there'd be ads for it in the back, or on the back cover in the book, and I'd always be like, oh, I got to read this page quick. I don't want to, flip through it, whatever. And then years ago, I was working in the comic shop. Probably 10 or 11 years ago now, and one of the customers who I'd become friends with over the years and go to the movies and everything, he was like, hey, I got some friends, we just started, we're a couple sessions in, do you want to come try it out? And I was like, sure. And like I said, 10 or 11 years later, we're still playing. It took 8 years to finish that initial campaign. So I've only played a couple characters at this point. I played a halfling rogue in the first one, and I played it wrong the whole time because I was used to the rogue in World of Warcraft where you would like sneak up behind the enemy and like it was a close range rogue attacks. And in D&D, the rogue is not supposed to be close. Like it's the way my character was. I should have been attacking from a distance, and no one told me this until after the campaign was over. They're like, you need to be like further away. Why are you getting like into melee with everybody? I'm like, I don't know. That's
weird. Nate has the opposite problem in our game. He doesn't realize he's a tank. He's supposed to be up close.
Rogues have a neat ability that they get where can use their bonus action to disengage, to move away. So if you are a melee rogue, you backstab and then you get out of there,
Right. And I was just having fun. Like I didn't know how to play. I didn't know how to build the character. I just picked stuff I liked, which is an okay way to do it. But, I learned a lot through that campaign. Two of my favorite moments were one of our, so it was me. So I'm this little halfling guy. And then we've got this dragonborn, I think he was I don't know if he was a fighter or a knight, or he eventually became like a fighter sorcerer, like mix, like dual class. But our dwarf companion, like she falls down this thing and she's like the happy cleric. She's like, oh, hi friend. She's just really nice to everybody. And these what are the fire gnomes or the fire dwarves called?
Durger? Oh, you mean the elemental ones?
Yeah. Whatever they are, but they were like little creatures that were made of fire, and they were working in this forge, and he sees her fall down and they start to swarm her, and he's jumping down. So I jumped on his back and he like superhero landing down like this 50-foot like furnace, face to like land and like intimidate them. But he rolled, I think, a really bad intimidation, or it was really good. It was one way. It was either really good or really bad. But it was just epic because, like, there's this little halfling on this like 9-foot tall dragonborn dropping down. It was just so much fun. And then one of my personal favorite ones that I did is we were trying to find a different dragonborn much later that was like imprisoned, and we got message that he was in this prison cell, and my guy just sneaks in. I was able to stealth in, and I rolled this great acrobatics roll, and like was able to like kind of like jump up and almost like Black Widow like swing up around this guard's head and like choke him out and like make the guard pass out, and was able to like get the information or whatever. And it was just a series of great rolls, but it was just a really fun moment that I never quite duplicated anything that cool in that game.
That's awesome. All right.
So as far as evaluating Joe, I've only really had one other DM, so I only have one person from personal experience to really compare him to. And you can't compare DMs to one another because they're as different as DMs as they are people, right? So I think Joe does a really good job. Like he said, I'm hooked into the story. I want to know where we're going, not ahead of time. Like, I'm intrigued as a player to find out what we unlock, what we uncover, where the next beats of the story are going to go. And when different threads, the backstories of our different characters start getting worked into it, like the little threads, to pull on. I love the way he's doing that. The voices are great. Yeah, and I look forward to every Monday night when I know we're playing. It's like, all right, I got to get out of my dad's place, as soon as possible, so I can go home, get my stuff set up, and be ready to go, because it's just so much fun. The one thing I don't like,
Rug tug,
is everybody's obsession with my character. It just makes me glad.
That's not a criticism.
I mean, it's not just a Joe thing. I mean, it is on Rug Tug, because that's a Rug Tug thing. But it's fun. Like I say that's more whimsical. Like it's fun. It does make me realize, because I also play one of my characters in my campaign, because I have 2 characters, is also a female in that one. And this week was the first time like that character experienced the kind of, not harassment, like that's way too strong of a word.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I'm just playing a female character in this game. It must suck to be a real life woman. And I'm not trying to turn this into a big political thing, but like, it just, what they must go through on a daily basis from people is horrible.
Thank you, Tom.
Granted, I know you guys do it to some point just to mess with me and make me uncomfortable, which is fine.
I mean, first of all, you joined a group of guys that are very immature, total sausage fest, and you're the only female in the group. So, yeah, there was going to be some shenanigans at some point.
I can actually explain the reason that Rug Tug ended up being like he's going, and this is just a little peek behind the curtain. It actually has nothing to do with you, Jesse. It's everyone else's reactions.
And who's Rug Tug?
So Rug Tug is a goblin character that they met, a goblin NPC in the game that has kind of a weird British accent, that when they met him and just, hello, Poppet, he says that. And the reaction of the rest of the players, not you, Jesse, but the rest of the players, because my job as a GM is to get a reaction out of the players, right?
Sure.
Their reaction, it's like, this is something I can't let go. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
For entertainment purposes, everyone, the other 3 players react to his comment. So then I have to go with that, because that's that emotional bond that I'm building with NPCs in the world, and trying to make everything seem more, real. And of course, and I hope this doesn't ruin anything for anyone, but there's a line that Rugtug's never going to cross,
Right.
as an NPC. He's never going to get to the point of being offensive with those things. You know what I mean? Because it's all for fun. We're playing. The number 1 rule of Dungeons and Dragons is to have fun. So
well, that's why I punched him in the face last episode, because it was just a voice in my ear that scared me. So my reaction was
kind of
punch
like
it.
a little SWAT. You didn't have a really great roll.
Well, unfortunately in D&D, that's how hand-to-hand combat kind of works. You don't.
I meant it to be a lot stronger. The dice did not agree with me.
Right. But it's one of those things that like it's just there for those ha-ha moments, No,
and it's great because he's got that gem of true seeing, or whatever. It's whatever the effect is that allowed him to see through her, because she was disguised self as a female goblin at the time, and he saw through it and saw the fuzzmonk underneath. Because he said something like, "Oh, I know what you really are," and I was like, "What?" So now there's this whole thing. Now there's this beloved NPC, and I just want to take that stone out of his eye and keep it for myself.
Yeah, you're totally gonna pull a Rocket Raccoon. You're like, I'm gonna get in that eye.
And I'm trying to figure out a way to do that without, turning complete heel and killing him outright and being a cold-blooded murderer.
Right. And those are those kind of things, the reaction when you said, "How did you get in here?" And he's like, "I walked through the front door. Everybody's busy." And everybody laughed,
Yeah.
It's just a character to kind of add some flavor to the world and stuff.
Oh, for sure. He's a lot of fun. I enjoy as a player.
I was just gonna say from Emil's reaction, I think Emil, if you're ever just like sculpting or you're whatever, just throw it on and listen to it. It's all available on audio podcast. It's also available on YouTube. Throw it on and give it a listen. I think you'll enjoy it. So yeah. Beautiful. Anything else on D&D before we transition?
I'd say that if you're on the fence about it, try it. There's so many great resources now. Of course, don't, because these guys are nice enough to compliment like the voices that I do and stuff like that. But let's be honest, there's an 18-year-old girl in the game that sounds like a 50-year-old smoker, because I don't do great voices. I'm not a voice actor. I'm gonna
speak to that. I want to speak to that. You put in the effort to make the voices sound different. Sure, you're not Matt Mercer, you're not a Hollywood voice actor, getting paid for it, but like you put in the effort, and we can tell. I think, you make the characters feel different enough. It's enough to get us into the game and into who those characters are. And you might be talking in your smoker's voice.
Yep.
I hear what's her name? Not Tamara. What's her name?
Which
the
one?
Girl with the wagon and Henry.
Oh,
Kira.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I hear her, you do enough that I can hear her voice is different from Annabella Ding Dong or whatever. I don't have the worksheet in front of me. It's like Elizabeth or whatever her name is, the old man's granddaughter and stuff, it's different enough, and that works for me.
Yeah, and that's where I was kind of going with that. You don't have to be a professional voice actor for it to be good. You know, it's the effort. Everyone's imagination is going to kick in and carry things. So if you're on the fence about it, give it a try. Your best effort is good enough. You don't have to be, you know, anything amazing to have fun with this game.
Well, I think
it's a DM. Just get someone who's played before. I mean, you don't have to know much actually, right? When you start playing, if you have someone around the table who knows you can ask every dice. We do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew absolutely jack squat going into this, but they've like just kind of like pulled me along through the whole thing. So I just wanted to add, as far as like it's not just the voices on the characters though. Like you have a different like different mannerisms and just the way that like the cadence to things and the way that you answer questions. It's like you are channeling a different person. So it's not just the voice. It's like this whole, you know, kind of thing. So you do a great job with that. I did want to just tag on. So.
Yeah, well, thanks guys. I appreciate that. But I would just encourage anybody who is on the fence about role playing to give it a try, because it has brought me a lot of joy over the years, getting together with friends. You know, and we play online for Legion's Quest, of course, because we're all very far from each other. But my home game, I'll call it, having just a reason these days now with all this modern technology and how easy it is to communicate over phones and computers and things like that, to have an excuse for my friends to come over to my house and us just hang out together, you know, is a big part of the fun of it, is just getting together with friends and hanging out.
So are we going to do a live session at Legion's Con this year?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
That's a lot of pressure. I don't know. No, I don't. It's fine if you guys want to, sure. We only play for 2 hours a session.
I'll
I can
DM
stumble through 2 hours without even trying.
I will also say, you know, it's a good time to be getting in to D&D or kind of get your feet wet with role-playing games, because we also have a new game coming from the Horsemen that they debuted at Legion's Con or at G-Con. And I know, Joe, you got to sit in and play a session of that. So what were your initial thoughts of that, and what do you think this is going to do for the Legion's community as far as getting people involved in D&D, and then vice versa as far as getting people in the D&D community to learn about the Horsemen and about, you know, this toy line? So I want to kind of get your thoughts on that.
So I did get to play. It was super fun. It was kind of a new role for me. I tend to, when I play, you know, like my personality, I tend to be a more forward character and kind of help lead the adventure along and things like that. And it was a super fun experience because we had some brand new people that had never played before or had limited experience. And I got to kind of hang back and just kind of help them move things along. And I felt like I got to be a secondary character, which was super fun for me. That was that. I mean, so I think D&D is familiarity. Like everybody that not everyone, I'm sure, but a lot of people that get into D&D because there's something else that you are a fan of, you know, Lord of the Rings or a Viking show, or, you know, whatever form of media that you're a fan of that draws you to Dungeons and Dragons, that makes you initially interested in it. And I think that this is amazing that they're coming out with the role-playing book, because we're all Mythic Legions fans. You know? And getting to come into it and know the NPCs and the races and things like that is going to be, I think, maybe a big draw to people that you know, maybe aren't familiar with what Dungeons and Dragons is, but you can come in and say, I know what a Mythic Legions vampire is. I know what a Mythic Legions orc is. And, you know, there's going to be some unique things where a skeleton can be a player character, where, you know, somebody like Mike Casper, you know, can play a skeleton as their player character, and it fits into the system. You know, you're not bending rules to try and do it. You know, Cameron's developing it where skeletons can be player characters because it's one of the main races of mythos. So I think this is going to be an opportunity to bring new fans into role playing. I think it's going to be something really fun for established players to be able to have some new variety. There might be somebody who has no idea what Mythic Legions is, but when they hear that they can play a skeleton as a player character, that goes, I want to do that, just because it's never really been done, in that way before. So I know that I personally am, really excited about it. I've done custom games several times myself where my players, looked at my action figures and took inspiration from that, and I ran it in the world of Mythos. So I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity. And an example I like to give is one of my friends looking at the figures saw Torian and was like, is that a spellcasting Minotaur? 'Cause he has a wizard staff.
Mhm.
And that's how I had him displayed at the time. And I was like, yeah, and I explained what the race was. And he's like, I want to do that. So our wizard was a Minotaur. Minotaurs in D&D are kind of brutish characters, and here our wizard for the game is a Minotaur. And then there's this awesome scenario where characters were going down. The fight was tougher than they thought it would be. And it was down to two characters, a martial character and our wizard. And the wizard drops his head and does like a charging attack and actually takes out the last enemy, with a gore from his horns, and then was super uncomfortable afterwards because he is not a physical character at all. He doesn't want to get anywhere near melee combat. So, I think there's going to be a lot.
Kind of like in the Kingsman movie where Samuel Jackson's character like can't stand blood, so he looks away when he shoots the one character.
Right. And yeah, and it's just like that. I think there's going to be some really fun variety that comes in because of how different Mythos is than a lot of other sword and sorcery type settings. So I think that even for established players, there's going to be a lot of new variety in there. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. So I think that's my synopsis on it. Yeah.
Awesome. Emil, Jesse, anything with, whether it's the, because I don't know if we're going to get painted figures, unpainted figures, what the game's going to be like, who's going to be interested in it. What are you guys excited for when it comes to, this game coming from the Horsemen? We'll start with Emil.
Well, what I'm most excited about isn't actually maybe playing or not. It is that it feels like Four Horsemen, the people working there, that they have the possibility to allow the creativity from people who work there to kind of blossom. This is something that is warmed close to Cameron's heart for a long time, and they encourage that. So that environment is the overall environment is more is a bigger thing for me than the actual game or whatever other projects are coming this year. And that is that's the first thing that I think about.
I know that you do your whole kind of Legions Con, go to Mesquite Con, drive up with them and all this and that. At some point you really have to go to intern, even if that means the entire crew coming in a day early or whatever. I think you would appreciate it so much, because what you're talking about there is exactly what you see all throughout the intern experience, and you get to hear about just how great of a workplace it is and how much everybody's opinion matters and everybody has a say. It's not, it's just it seems like an amazing, it's like, I don't know, it's like working at Wonka's chocolate factory or something. It's just it's just super cool. But yeah, I think you would really get a kick out of that, Emil, if you ever are able to go. So, yeah, Jesse, what about you? Your thoughts as far as whether it's miniatures, whether it's the game itself, what do you think it's going to draw more people into this, or you think more people from this are going to get excited about D&D? What any thoughts you have?
I think there's a lot of potential for it to be another place, especially Figura Obscura, to be an element of a branch of Four Horsemen stuff that reaches out beyond just the toy collecting. You know, potentially by the time the game comes out, the first book, like the narrative book, will be out, so there will be lore, there will be stuff to reference, I would imagine, beyond just the bio. So I think these things are going to be hitting at good times for all that. It's, I don't know, like, collecting and gaming are such weird niche little groups that it's sometimes hard to, like, unless it's a very specific thing, like your characters from Baldur's Gate getting pop figures, or the Legends of Vox Machina getting an animated show and like all the merch that comes out for them. You know, there's tons of different things like it. I have a hope that it would be a really cool thing that, and I think it will. I think it just might not be like a, you know, initial like shock and awe kind of thing. I think it'll be like a good slow build. You know, once the game gets tested, people are playing it. And you know, if it starts showing up in game shops or something, you know, that would be a really cool thing to do. So for folks out there, if you have a local game shop and you DM or you play, order an extra book whenever the pre-orders or the Kickstarter type thing the crowdfund goes up, and try to get them into your local store to test play it in the store to help bring it out into your community.
Yeah, Emil.
You know what would be really cool, and I know, you know, there's of course going to be the role-playing book and the book about all the races and, you know, how to build your character. Make that book with a lot of artwork and make it, you know, incorporate that with all the mythos lore. You know, I'm saying the obvious here, but also, so when you go with the stats for a skeleton warrior and an orc, make that so it's canon with the whole mythos. You know, so this is a general strength of an orc in mythos. This is the general strength and wisdom of a human in mythos. You know, if you have that, I could see people who collects the toy line want to get that lore book with all the stats for the characters and races and stuff, and then just, you know, have that as, ooh, you know, when they're customizing or when they're building up their collection. I think that would be a brilliant thing, you know, because I would be reading that, you know, just reading through this. Oh, so an orc that comes from the southern part, somehow it's stronger because of this lore. You know, that is kind of nerddom that I would throw myself over.
I agree with Emil 100%, because like we just found out, because of what's coming out in the role playing, that vampires are a race, not an infection.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, that's the thing.
You know, it's not that a vampire bit an ogre. There's some type of crossbreeding going on there. For Nerd Joe, that's super interesting.
Exactly.
I want to know more of that kind of stuff. So I get what you're saying for sure.
And make sure that I'm not sure if it will be possible, but make sure that everything is incorporated to that, if possible. I'm not sure if that will be tricky or not, but so, you know, it's all of this is canon stuff. Maybe it's just me, but this is me dreaming.
Cool.
That is the kind of book I would buy, even though I will not, you know, might not play the game.
See, the thing for me before started playing with these guys on Allegiance Quest is it felt very intimidating and very like, just like, I don't know where to begin, right? Like, I remember at one time when my twins were really young, and one of them had ripped off her diaper and had like, there was just basically shit everywhere. And the other one I was holding and burping and like threw up all over. So now I had one with shit all over, one with and I had no idea where to start. That's how I felt like with D&D. I was like, I don't know where to begin, right? Like you walk into like one of these hobby stores and they've got all these different variations of games and all this kind of stuff, like all these role-playing games. And you have no idea what any of them are. You don't know anybody that plays them. You don't know like which ones are good ones or bad ones or how to start. So I think like kind of what Jesse was talking about, if you can do like run a live game inside of a hobby store or whatever, do some of this where people can see it and experience it. And maybe somebody's walking by the table and they go, hey, what is this? What are you guys doing? And they can learn a little bit about it. That may lessen some of that kind of intimidation right at the start would be.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
I mean, all the armor pieces and stuff that you can wear in the role-playing game should be, all the parts are parts from the toy line.
Mm.
I mean, even if they're like, okay, there are these 5 different kinds of heavy armor. Well,
Yeah.
these 5 pieces are existing, and maybe these are considered to be leather parts, like they're also original, they're parts. So mixing this, and then even if you will be using miniatures, it will be possible for you to actually build your character of Legion's parts, and not like, yeah, this is some kind of adamantium cape. Like, what? No, that we don't have that part. Well, whatever. So integrate this everything you can.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see well, here's a flail that we've seen on several several figures, and in the game, this is the stats that are associated with that weapon. Like, this is how much damage that weapon does, or whatever. Like, yeah, it takes all this stuff that we've been playing around with and putting in customs and stuff for all these years and goes, okay, now here's another aspect to that. So
right. And just so people know, Curtis is living proof, if you watch Allegiance Quest, that you don't have to do it right to have a good time.
You just have to be hungry, folks. That's it. That's my key to success.
Show up.
Yeah.
I have a few things I would love to see just as the collector side of D&D stuff as well.
The what side?
In their collector side.
Oh, collector side. Okay, sorry, missed that.
So the D&D books come out, and like when the 5th editions came out, they looked like this. They had the regular standard covers, which is gorgeous artwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they also put out what they call like the alt cover. Let me get that pulled up here. So I would love to see options to where we get the original book cover in Nate Bart style art, and then we get a David Williams style alternate cover like this. Or photo cover and Nate Bart's art or something where there's 2 different versions. There's the regular edition, and then there's the alternate where it's more of a design type of a thing.
So these were great because the alt covers were supposed to be only available in shops. So, you could order the normal covers online, but the unique versions were to try and draw more people into shops. My oldest son actually collects those. He has all of the 5th edition alternate covers. Just because that was, he has a D&D tattoo. That's how much he likes Dungeons and Dragons. But he has the dragon ampersand on his shoulder. It's really cool. But those things are fun for collectors. It draws people in, and if it gets people into shops, again, I think that's something that is good for the community.
And I think
another thing, well, the characters that are in the D&D game, of course, those would be available as just like a solo con exclusive would be available. These characters would be available. Like, okay, this is Benny Boo is a special character that is a part of the first adventure. Yeah, you can also get him as a toy. You don't have to get the role-playing game, but you get this, and then you get curious, and
Hey, I'd love to see a Cam and Gradic 2-pack myself. Just throwing that
nice.
out.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was going to throw one more thing onto that. There's other things in my mind, but the next one is a dice set for each faction with the D20, the D20 pip as the faction symbol.
Cool.
There you go.
Very nice. Well, I know we're rounding up to the 2-hour mark, which is usually when we start to kind of wrap this thing up. But there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about that I know is very interesting for all of us here on the screen. And that is this. There's this little thing that was created by these really two awesome gentlemen. I think I got a picture here called God's Fire. Now, I don't know if you know these two sexy gentlemen on the screen. They look like they're just, man, they can really get you excited.
My heart's beating faster right now.
Right?
Actually,
Right?
having that on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So they started this whole God's Fire thing, and which you can learn more about if you go to godsfireseries.com. They've got the bios or all the characters. You can actually hear several of them read by our one Mr. Emil Wickman. And now
Ear candy, we call it. Ear candy.
For sure. Now we've got Necronominous Wave is here. People are getting these. We're getting these Sir Elijahs. Pretty soon we're going to get these Sir Enochs, which is basically Elijah but with a cape for the same price. I mean, who doesn't love that?
Stuff. He has more armor stuff as well.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to get an influx of really cool Templars, which makes me and several others go, man, there's got to be some awesome God's Fire coming, right? Like that's got to be in the works. So and the other thing is that I know Maxilius the Harvester is here right now. And for those of you that don't know, underneath all of those robes and accoutrement is just kind of a bare bone skeleton. So if you wanted your bare bone skeleton, that's fine. You take that, you have your bare bone skeleton, but then you've got a robe to make monks with, right? Like perfect monks. So between the robe and the new Templars, Emil, what can we look forward to getting this year for God's Fire? What should we be expecting to see from you guys?
Well, first of all, I'm looking forward to build the 5 God's Fire. You know, I sold my original 5, and I've been looking forward to these new Templar bodies to build up a new team.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to doing that, you know, but that is, you know, at my customizing table, what I want to do. With plenty of new, I don't want to say too much because if we don't put them out now, some people say,
you don't want to make promises. Gotcha. But can you at least tell us that you guys are talking about that? You're thinking about this. There's thoughts going around. You guys are bouncing. Is there active things happening?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I wanted.
But then, of course, I mean, you are one of them who are good at reaching out. Like, wouldn't it be cool to see this? You know, stuff like that. And it's like, yes, it would. And then it made, you know, it's and that has made it everything more fun as well. You know, one of the things is, yes, that there are a storyline. Yes, there are sculpts that are being sold, but the creating this together has been so much fun, and there have been, you know, ideas coming from so many other people involved, and you know, who enjoy the God's Fire storyline. Like the first chapter of a potential book is also up on the website. You know, to read.
Really good. Check it out.
And that's Stephen who has written it, and it's you know, before getting published sometime in the future, you know, that would be edited. He has been very clear he wants it edited more, but we figured that that's something to be put out for people who like want to read more about this group of characters.
Well, and then something that
I'm just waiting for the romance novel adaptations where it's like
with those two folks that we just saw. Like,
no, just the characters from God's Fire. You know, I'm not saying like with each other, but like, you know, you get like the Fabio Templar, you know, saving the barmaid or whatever. You know, I'm just waiting for those.
We have one character.
I just think this would be a great romance novel right there. Like that's all you need, right? Like, come on. It doesn't get better.
Emil, for the record, I was not trying to set that up.
My wife is sleeping now, so I'm happy that she didn't hear that. You know, and especially since we are going to see Steven this summer, so maybe, you know, I don't want her to feel like, okay,
Ooh.
Is it a trip for us, or is it a trip to you to get to see Steven only, or
Okay, I got a great idea. And obviously you got plenty of plans. I think that you're planning on doing. You're definitely going to go to the lake, I think, and you guys got some stuff that you've got in the works. But if you guys can squeeze out like an hour or two and do a live God's Fire brainstorming session, Emil and Steven just bouncing ideas off of each other, I think that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Just kicking things around. There's a chat going on, and you guys are just like, here, we could do this. And what about this figure? And this could go with that. Yeah. A little brainstorming session. That would be awesome. So
I hear someone who seems willing to participate.
Oh, I would definitely moderate and pull up comments and questions if you wanted to, but I just would like to see it as a fan. Like I love God's Fire as a fan more than anything else. So
Thank you.
yeah. But another person on screen that actually got put into God's Fire this year is a one Mr. Joe Gonsalves. So can you tell us a little bit about how that came to be? Like what that's about?
Absolutely.
No, I don't
I'm
know
talking to
anything
Emil.
about it. Yeah, okay. Because I
want
was
Emil
going to
to
say,
tell the story.
I had no
how
idea.
You got pulled in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, initially last summer we had plans to do a lot of heads that were going to be released last summer. You know, and we said it this summer. This is coming, and then things happened. I don't go into details, but it's not like we don't have to.
Yeah, life happens. Life occurs. Yeah.
Life happened in multiple, things. So we just, no, we didn't succeed in doing this that we had set up to do, but that's how it is. Okay, Legion's Con is coming up. Let's at least continue with that other idea, and I really wanted us to make, go back in time of the God's Fire storyline, because then we could have let Legion's Con be something that goes back in the God's Fire Legends. Then Steven and I started talking about this, and we had a lot of fun, thinking about what are the initial founder of the order, and then Steven popped up with, okay, could we find the origin story for Lord Perosa? And then we started, merging those ideas, and okay, let's create these two characters for Legion's Con. And as we were doing that, I was also like, okay, there are two people. I mean, you are one of the people and there are others who are really positive and supportive with the God's Fire line. Joe Gonsalves and Kent Matzinger are two others who are really supportive, and you could see their passion in the art that they put up. And I really felt like I would like to put them in here. Do you think that they would appreciate that, or do you think that they wouldn't like that? And I asked you, I remember, would you think that they would be okay with this? Or do you think they would appreciate this or not? Because you don't want to see.
I said they'd be over the moon.
Yes, that is what you answered. And then I was like, okay, let's do this. And then the fun started of making sure we didn't tell you guys about it, of course.
I mean, I think it's cool on multiple levels. I think it's cool that you guys tied it into the story, right, that already exists. I think it's cool that you included, people from the community that have really been excited about this God's Fire series. But then also, it took a lot of guts on your part and Len's to go, you know what? We're not going to do our normal setup. Like Len's like, I'm not bringing all the parts that I normally, I've got, this whole library of parts that people come to shows and want to buy. I'm not bringing any of that. We're putting all our eggs into one basket, and we're selling this box that's going to have these sets in it. And that's our display. That's what we're doing. And set up this very beautiful end cap display with this stuff. And it seemed like it was a huge hit. Like it was a huge chance, to take, pretty much. I mean, you got, My Action Figure Customs is out of the game. Planetary Dog is kind of, leaving. They're closing shop. I mean, Wolf King is the biggest shop in the game still. And to go, hey, we're not bringing any of those parts that you guys are used to. We're going to just do this thing. Now he did make it to where you could place orders ahead of time, and he would bring the orders with him, which was really nice touch too. But it took a lot of courage to like just say, hey, we're just going to put all our eggs into this basket. And then you guys came up with not only the parts for those two figures, but this really nice display box and all this kind of stuff. Can you talk to us about how that came together as far as, you know, the in-cap display and the box itself? And I think there was like a pen and stuff that went with it, right?
Let's say 2 words. Len LaGuardia.
Okay.
And he should have the credit for you know, doing that, taking all the space that he has had for Legion's Con and go for this, you know. So it all goes to him, and I was like, you sure? Because, you know, of course I'm down with whatever, you know, ideas that he and so it was his guts, you know, and he had a vision of like, okay, let's do this, you know, put it all this, and he had the bar, and I was just, okay, what can I do? And okay, we need this art, we need this, and I was like, okay, can I do like this? I'm like, yeah, and so it's.
Did you design the box art for that thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, the box was black with the sticker on, you know.
I thought it had like didn't it have a embossed logo on it though too? Or no?
That was on the sticker.
Oh, it was on the sticker. Okay, gotcha.
And there was a pin as well, and unique color of the Godspire logo for the box. That was going to be an exclusive color for the box, you know. And but then I did the, you know, the what do you call, not a poster,
stands. Yeah, the
print.
Prints and the big standees on the sides with, you know,
like the banner kind of thing.
Yeah. Fire up, and what's God's fire? You know, okay. Of course, a lot of people don't have any idea what it is. So it's like, okay, can we do something kind of teaser? Put some of the characters up here and do this, and that was a lot of fun to do. It took a lot of time to do as well.
Yeah. It was neat because I saw people coming up all weekend, and you know, Len was sitting there with his like purple suit on and everything, all fancy, and people were coming over. They're like, "What is this? Like, what is the thing?" Like, and then he would have to do his whole like sales pitch and all this kind of stuff. But it was just really neat. I thought it was an interesting idea, and the way that you incorporated Kent and Joe into there was just awesome. I loved it.
And I thought like, okay, they're gonna see it on, you know, Joe and Kent are gonna see it on the setup night. And when we got there, and I saw that Len had prepared for that as well, like put tape on it so you couldn't see the name.
Yeah,
Joe and Kent, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Of course, I was like, still, because even though you say they will be over the moon, I'm more into that other part of the world where you're like, I hope they will, like, you know, I hope they will be, you know, that's where I was leaning, you know, until.
See, for me, there was here's what I know. Listen, I had nothing to do with this, right? Like I had nothing. I didn't create anything. I didn't have any part to do with this, but I knew it was going on because I painted up a couple of these sets or whatever, and I was excited for both Joe and Kent. And for me, in my head, like you know, Joe's on OffWorld every week, and I talk with him a lot, and he has this very macho, manly, like I don't cry, like men aren't supposed to cry, like he's just got this very machismo, like I work in the mines, you know, like I come out with all the mine debris on me and stuff. And so I just wanted to see him bawl is what I wanted. Like that's what I just wanted to see him just break down. I just start crying right there on the spot. We didn't quite get that, but it was. You could see he got a little emotional. He got a little bit emotional there. So
I don't cry when I'm happy. That's just weird. I don't know where Curtis is coming from with all this stuff. All I know is I walked into the main room on Saturday, and Curtis is like, "Come with me right now," and just took off the fastest I've ever seen him move. And I was just like, I thought he needed help, like carrying something, and he walks around the corner and he does this big flourish with his arm. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is this? And yeah, mind blown for sure. More honored to, because, you know, Emil, you say, you know, that I've been a supporter, but I guess in my mind, I don't know, just I didn't expect it in any way. Didn't feel like I had done anything to deserve it. So, but I couldn't have been happier. I immediately wanted to punch you guys in the face for making me feel so good. And because I'm so manly. That's what Curtis would say. No, that's a joke. I just couldn't wait to give you guys a hug. That was an amazing, amazing moment, which hugging is probably about as emotional as I tend to get.
Although he did tell me that he had to go back up the room for a few minutes to collect himself. So
it was really exciting. It was really exciting. I had to go and
seeing him bawling on the Legion's Con floor, but knowing that he had to go back to his room was good enough.
Yeah, it wasn't the goal to have someone cry. That's not,
Well, that was my goal the whole time.
That was Curtis's goal.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. When you reached out to me and you said, "Do you think Kent and Joe would be okay with this?" Immediately my thought was Joe might cry. Yes, they'd love it. Do it, Emil. Do it. And
now after this conversation, my goal is to have Graddock cry. So stay tuned, everyone, for that. But yeah, what an amazing honor. Totally unexpected. Thank you so much, Emil and Steven, to be included and have my name in one of the God's Fire stories. I just can't say thank you enough. It was such an amazing experience, and was one of my Legion Con moments, where I'll never forget that feeling, of my first Legion's Con. So
you're most welcome, Joe.
and Lynn too. Just Lynn, thank you.
And especially after being abandoned at the hotel all day, as we all walked out the door, not realizing you were there on Thursday.
I'm going to have to blame Brett Stoddard for that, because I saw Jesse and I was like, "Oh, I got to catch Jesse really quick." And then Brett's like, "Joe." And then I talked to Brett and Jesse vanished. So, but because of that, pardon me, I got to hang out with Dylan all day. So it ended up being a positive anyway.
That works. Well, no pressure, Emil. We're not going to ask you for any commitments or anything so that we can hold you to Summer of God's Fire like last year. But very excited to see what you guys come up with this year. I just know those Templars I'm super excited for. These robes from Maxilius I'm super excited for. So however that ties into God's Fire, I'm here for it. But yeah, Joe.
Emil, I'm going to ask if you guys could work on a new God's Fire character that's named Akerman, and it's actually a crying face sculpt. I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, here's the difference though. I cry all the time. Like, I will fully admit I am a big crybaby. I'm not the machismo macho Joe Gonsalves, So.
I don't. You keep adding that part, and I'm not sure where that's coming from.
I think that's how he sees you, Joe.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I'm flattered that you see me that way, Curtis. Thank you.
Well,
maybe since Curtis is asking for a monk, maybe you make like the bald head monk, and he's like eating a cheeseburger or chicken sticks or something
while he's crying. Yeah.
Can you make a monk with a ponytail?
Yeah.
Can you, ponytail monk.
That's crying and eating food.
Hey, as long as I'm eating, I don't care. I'm crying how good the food is. Yeah, with a donkey.
Guys, just the back end.
This has been a blast. I've had a great time talking about some fun stuff with some fun people. Anything else that you guys got coming up that you want to promote? We'll start with Joe. You got anything else you want people to be aware of?
There will be a new episode of Legion's Quest that we will be recording tomorrow, which the video version should be up on YouTube on Tuesday, and then audio tends to come out on Thursdays afterwards. We're having a ton of fun doing it. We appreciate if you guys check it out. We're having a lot of fun. I think anybody that gives it a try will end up really liking it. If nothing else, just the players are super entertaining. It's worth watching just for them. So,
and it's free.
Oh yeah, that's the best part. Yeah,
the only thing you're sacrificing is your time, and it's worth it.
And maybe some sanity.
Yeah. No comment.
Emil, what about you? Anything you got coming up? Obviously, we talked about the book, and please let us know as soon as that's available. We'll definitely promote that. But anything else coming up that you're interested in, or you're wanting to share with folks?
Well, I must say that I've been very slow in finishing new customs. I have so many on my desk that are in different stages that I enjoy working on them. But I figure that I better start finishing some soon, And if all goes according to plan, I will have Snow White, the tribute to Snow White, up this week.
Very nice. Very nice. Also, we didn't get a chance to talk about the whole 12 for 25. The first one, the one for Dubon, is already out there, and we just found out that the new one for February is going to be using the Xylernian guard body. So pretty excited to see what that looks like. I think you're supposed to be on with Len this Friday, right? Do a little tease, maybe. Maybe. Okay. So yeah, tune in.
Maybe.
Yeah, Emil will be popping on throughout the year at different times on the Friday with Len on the Wolf King Customs YouTube channel. Check that out. So each month they're going to do a new sculpt, and that sculpt is something that is going to be inspired by a figure that is available at Wolf King. And then Emil is creating like a new head sculpt to go along with that figure. So this month is going to be the Xylernian guard, and later this month you'll be able to see what the head is, and then you'll be able to buy the combo pack of the figure and the head, or later on you'll be able to just buy the head by itself. So
thank you for actually reminding me about that, because that is one, of course that is something that will be done every month. So there will be 12.25, and then and then I do the phone box subscription with the Brian work. So those are the things that will be every month. Like,
what is the theme right now for the Von Berg box?
Season of the Wicked.
The Wicked, okay.
Yeah, and this time I actually have a storyline. So the 3 month, the characters have something to do with each other.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So there you go. If you're not subscribed to that is out there as well. I believe there's still a painted and an unpainted version, right? Subscription.
Right,
so you've got that. And then, like I said, on Fridays, check out the Wolf King YouTube page. Sometimes it'll just be Len. Sometimes it'll be Len and Emil, but that's where you'll find out about the new parts that he's doing for that. And some exciting stuff. So yeah. Also at Wolf King right now, they do have the Necronominus wave available. I know that a lot of the figures have been going really fast. So if you're interested, make sure you jump on that. Same prices that you get everywhere else, but you also get bonus parts with them. You get a bonus 3D head. So if you're a customizer, best place to get it from, in my opinion. And I do believe we've got a super chat out there, Jesse.
We did. I didn't want to interrupt. You were on a roll there. Legends Collector 1321 with a $4.99 super chat. I dropped off for about half an hour because Walmart has no service and my job doesn't understand watching Shooting the Shelf is my priority. What did I miss? Well,
everything.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna have to go back and watch.
You missed Joe saying nice things about you, Dylan.
I don't know what 30 minutes you missed.
But Joe did say nice things. Yeah.
I did.
He did.
Yeah, that was nice.
There, do you see Brian Carver Customs comment?
Yeah, he did a great job on that.
That was a wonderful diorama. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, and Brian will be. We'll see him in just a short time. He'll be at MesquiCon with us selling stuff. So. That'll be awesome. I know he's got an exclusive Charbot part, as well as he'll have some dios and stuff there. So that'll be awesome.
Cool.
Well, guys, it was great having you on. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. Yeah,
absolutely. We're going to put you backstage. If you've got to run, we totally understand. If not, hang out, and we will be with you as soon as we close out the show.
Curtis, as you well know, at our age, we don't run.
That's fine. All right. We'll see you in a second. What a fun one. That was great.
Oh, for sure. Always fun hanging out with those guys.
Yeah. We were talking about Brian Lynn being at MesquiCon and having some stuff for sale there. You're going to be there as well. I'm going to get to see you. We're going to see each other in person for the first time since Legions Con.
Yes, sir. The two best weekends of the year.
Yeah,
I'll be bringing some stuff from Wolf King. It probably will, it'll be whatever heads we have, but I don't think I'm bringing like the whole stack shelves display. Got to see what the table sizes are, just to save space. And you know, yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll have the Wolf King presence there like we did last year, and it'll be a fun weekend.
Beautiful. You know what? I think our guest next week might also be at MesquiCon. I don't know if he's RSVP'd, but I'm pretty sure he might be there.
Yeah, you said so next Sunday at our regular scheduled 8 p.m. time frame Eastern, we'll be having the one, the only, the roll for what's in your pocket. I thought that was backwards for a second. I think my brain just stroked out.
Pete McCarthy, everybody, the runner of MesquiCon, will be here to give us the scoop on what we can expect. What is the Mythic meetup on Friday going to look like? What is the con going to look like? How many Mythic tables do we have in there? He'll be able to give us the entire scoop. We're looking forward to it. I mean, Pete's just an awesome guy anyway. Obviously, he's one of the main members of the My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me podcast. Not safe for work, by the way. But if you're not at work, check it out. Yeah, it'll be fun to talk to him next week and get kind of the lowdown on MesquiCon. Maybe talk a little D&D, maybe talk a little Glyos. He's been really into Glyos lately. Yeah, should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed, will be another fun chat, and we also have the guests lined up for the next week, but we'll save that for reveal next Sunday night after the show.
Beautiful, man. We're a little over a month away, Jesse. Good to see you. It'll be awesome.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. So, folks, thank you for joining us for an early episode today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon, whether you're watching a game, doing other things, whatever. I don't know. I might fire up the customizing studio here at some point after I go get some food.
Oh, nice.
We'll see. But I'm definitely going to be painting. Yeah. But until next time, thanks for being here at
Shooting the Shelf at YouTube.
Thanks for being here, and until next time.
Oh, you didn't say until next time. But,
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know what I was supposed to say. What's on your shelf?